Jacob Zuma supporters who emerged earlier on in the evening, just after 9:30 or so. They said that they would not allow police to go in to his homestead to arrest him. Edward Zuma going as far as saying that he'll die before his father was arrested. We then saw a total turn of events, and that of course was Jacob Zuma's motorcade leaving, as you saw there, for him to hand himself over to authorities. The police ministry has issued a statement saying that Jacob Zuma is in the SAPS's custody, so he will be en route to that correctional services facility right now. JJ Tabane, I'll bring you back in to the conversation now. Put JJ up on screen for me, guys. I want to see JJ. Are you calm? Are you calm? Are you calm? Sorry, I'm laughing at this. Your blood was boiling, but understandably so.
No, but look, you know, at the end of the day, all right, unlike at the high school debate, and by the way, I was a high school debater, we debated sometimes for the sake of it. This is not one of those nights, right? We are faced with a situation where the country has to make a choice. You know, you can have all sorts of arguments. At the end, somebody must be a final arbiter, right? And I really want to emphasize this point that I made, that Jacob Zuma has been to, I don't know how many more courts than many of us, right? In each of those courts, not always did he get a unanimous decision to be let off the hook. And now today he says, oh, but if it's 7 judges or a constitutional court, it can't be. They must all agree, basically, which is crazy, you know. But it's always good. I remember John has to do his job, you know. He has to speak for the message that the foundation wants to put out there. But at the end of the day, we have a country to build. And to build that country, we have to have laws. It's always been said that one of the things that investors look at when they go to a country to do business is whether or not can their contract just be shredded and thrown in a dustbin and nobody cares. And in other countries that happens. It's true. And that's why we need to build a country where people can believe in their laws. We all know that we can be safe, we can be respected by the laws, etc. The law is not perfect. As they, in law books, they would say the law is an ass or something like a donkey, right? It's not perfect at all. Can we say that on air? All right, it doesn't. But that's what they say, that the law is not perfect. But in its imperfection, all of us must try to work with it. And that's why you got a Concord, because they can actually amend the law. I don't know where Mzwane read this law. The Concord can make the law in terms of when they make certain decisions, those decisions create precedents, and in the future, that's what people are going to refer to. The authority that Ken Dalimpofu was asking for yesterday, in the future jurists will quote the Concord to say, you must understand, nobody, no one is above the law. It's not a thing to celebrate that an old person is in jail and we must all hang in shame and we have treated Zuma with disdain. It's Zuma who has treated us with disdain. For 10 wasted years, he's treated us with disdain. He has dilly-dallied with the minerals and wealth of this country with the Guptas. He has sold his soul to the Guptas. And this is what we wanted the commission to pronounce on. But in his absence, we have to make our conclusions from 300 witnesses. Maybe 3 or 4 that are unreliable, that can't remember the detail. But to come here and argue, Shahan, that no, you couldn't remember the witnesses. Why should I rattle off all the witnesses who are 300 of Zondo? Why must I talk to you about Ngwakora Matlodi or Minister Mbalula, who was told by the Guptas before he was appointed by Zuma that he was going to be a minister? Why must I come and repeat those things? That's why the Zondo Commission was broadcast live, so that all of us can see for ourselves. I think that we cannot rewrite history. I understand spin doctoring, but this is spin doctoring, Shahan, taken to the umpteenth degree, that you must disbelieve 40 witnesses, 300 witnesses, and disbelieve what I know myself, the corruption that's been happening. And listen to Mzwane say here with boldness that Zuma is so innocent and was so shameful to take him to prison. Unfortunately, the consequence of the law. It must be blind. It's blind to old age. It's blind to political a capital must be blind to struggle credentials. Otherwise, the crooks who are stealing food from the mouths of babies will get away with it by saying, I threw a stone. We also threw stones, man. It's not a unique attribute here. We need to respect the law, Shahan. And I hope tonight is part of starting that particular message to sink into everybody, even though it's sad to see an elderly statesman go to jail.
So let's talk about how this all unfolded, right? Because Jacob Zuma will ultimately be in jail later on because he's on his way to escort. But there was pushback. We saw the letter to the Concourt in the evening. We saw, as you heard from your sources, that there was an ultimatum even given to him to hand himself over or police will have to come there and arrest him.
Listen, there was always going to be a pushback. But it's again a legal strategy that went bad because the judge asked a simple question to Dalimpo. Why didn't you go to the Constitutional Court? Why do you go to them on one matter and then a clearly linked matter of whether or not their order is suspended? You don't deal with that. You deal with it at the High Court. But remember, it's the same thing that Zuma has been doing throughout. He's been doing what in law we say forum shopping. So go to every possible court, try to do what you can, and so on. That's why he managed to get out of jail for 15 years, refused to go to the law. Now, I want to make this point, Shahan. The advocate Sikakane, I don't care what Jimmy Manyi say. Jimmy Manyi wants me to believe that advocate Sikakane did not say to Judge Zondo, I'm going to appeal you. He said so. He said he was going to appeal the judge's ruling all over the courts, because that's what he's used to doing, to go from one court to another, forum shopping, appealing for them to listen to him. This is what we have seen happening. So this pushback we have seen, it's bang in the middle of the Zuma strategy, right, of forum shopping, confusing the courts. And what he was expecting to happen was that the judge was going to listen to the fact that he has jurisdiction and then overrule the Constitutional Court, which I believe is not going to happen on Friday, right? So that's why you saw this particular pushback. But after the judge's body language and engagement yesterday, they realized that this judge is going to rule against us. And that's why they had to run to the Concourt at the last minute, and as a way of buying time until Friday and until Monday. So that pushback was to be expected. But another element of it is that it had also the political nuance. The minister's letter, which was ridiculous to be frank, right? Was to try and bring the Concourt now back into the fray, so that it's not me who said it. The Concourt again is the one that refused me to be lenient, to be politically lenient. So that, for me, is how I understand this pushback. It was all kicks of a dying horse, so to speak, Shahan.
Yeah, so let's hold it there because Siphamandla Goge is in Nkandla and I see he's freezing. So Sipa, we're going to bring you in. It's been a very long day for you. You've watched everything unfold. You saw the dramatic convoy leaving the Nkandla homestead. But, we saw supporters earlier who were there saying that they wouldn't allow this to happen. They wouldn't allow the arrest to happen. And then we saw Jacob Zuma leave because he had to make a decision here. What's happening there now? Have people left? Have you been able to speak to Edward Zuma after his father left the compound as well?
2 minutes ago, Edward Zuma has just decided to drive inside his father's house here. He has left the main gate here. There are only 2 cars left, or 3 rather, 3 cars left here outside former President Jacob Zuma's home. And I can tell you that Edward Zuma's car has just driven down inside his father's house. So not much of action happening here. We saw that convoy leaving. Let me tell you that the information we are getting is that it was a last-minute deal that the former president decided to take. There were options that were presented to him. Our sources are telling us that one of those options was because people who are looking after your security are employed by the state, they are police officers. It's either they escort you to the nearest police station or correctional facility. If they don't do that, we are going to ask them to stand down and leave you alone so that another team will come and pick you up and take you to where you are supposed to be taken to. But it seems as if the former president decided to exercise and take the first option, which, according to our sources, we are told is a dignified one, whereby his protectors, who are police members, had to take him to the nearest facility. He was presented with options to say, come midnight, you will be arrested. There is nothing suspending the constitutional court order that says you must be arrested. The deadline of the police was expiring at midnight yesterday, or should I say on Wednesday. So the former president didn't have a choice, because the police had just been planning to move in on him. But last-minute deal was struck to say, what do you do? Do you prefer that your own protectors, who are police members, take you to the nearest facility before the expiry of that deadline? If they do not do that, they will be ordered to stand down and leave you alone. Another team will move in and pick you up, and that will be embarrassing. It appears, by the way things have unfolded, that the former president rather decided to take the dignified option. I can tell you that it's not what many people were anticipating here, based on what the former president himself has been saying. On Sunday, he portrayed an image of someone who is in charge, someone who is not afraid. He's been saying he's not afraid for many years now. But on Sunday, he was adamant that he was not going to hand himself over just like that. When he was addressing his supporters, he said it in isiZulu that the police want me just to hand myself over just like that. I can't walk to prison just like that. Even saying he was considering and thinking about how the police were going to come and arrest him here, thanking his supporters, saying, well, the fact that they came in numbers to show their support, that made him feel and look strong and feel that he is protected. But most of them were not here to protect him today. It was just an easy way out for the former president to leave his house, to go to the nearest facility. His convoy took a right turn. When you leave his house, you take a right turn. You drive towards Kranskop, Greytown, and of course, up until we hear a formal confirmation from correctional services in terms of which facility he is at, because two names have been thrown around here. There is Escort Correctional Services, but according to the letter that was signed by Justice Siphamandla to the head of the prison at Westville Correctional Center, that's where the former president was initially meant to be housed. So for now, we'll wait for the formal communication from correctional services.